Okay, so get this. Biden and Xi Jinping just met. And the big thing was they agreed humans should control nuclear weapons, not AI.
Wow.
It's like ripped from the headlines.
It's right out of a sci-fi movie.
It is. We're diving deep into all this today based on a Reuters article all about this meeting.
Oh, cool.
I have to say, I'm a little nervous, to be honest,
Yeah.
but very intrigued, too, all at the same time.
Yeah, it is a fascinating development,
It is.
especially given how fast AI technology is advancing.
Exactly. So, like, what is the backstory here? What made this agreement happen?
Right.
And, like, what are the real implications? I'm hoping you can help us unpack all of this.
Yeah, well, there's been a growing sense of urgency internationally
Okay.
about AI's potential military applications, especially when it comes to nuclear weapons.
Right.
See, AI isn't just playing chess anymore or recommending movies or whatever.
Yeah.
It's evolving so fast, it's making people reassess AI's role in global security.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But can you give us some specifics? Like, what kind of AI stuff has everyone so worried?
So one of the main concerns is autonomous weapons systems.
Okay.
Imagine drones or missiles with AI that lets them choose and attack targets without any human involvement.
Oh, wow.
That brings up a ton of ethical and strategic questions.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're keeping a lot of people up at night.
Yeah, that's pretty unsettling.
It is.
It's like we're about to enter a whole new era of warfare where machines decide who lives and dies.
Yeah, that's a very real possibility.
Wow.
And it's one reason this agreement between Biden and Xi is so significant.
Okay.
It shows that even the highest levels of government know that humans absolutely have to stay in control of nuclear weapons.
So even though it might be symbolic, this agreement is a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
Because it's the first time the U.S. and China have officially talked about this.
right.
It's like they're drawing a line in the sand saying AI is not going to be calling the shots on nuclear war.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's especially noteworthy considering the context. China's nuclear arsenal is expanding really rapidly,
Oh,
which
okay.
of course is making the United States kind of nervous.
Yeah. How fast are we talking?
Well, the Pentagon thinks by 2030, China could have over 1,000 nuclear warheads,
Whoa.
more than double what they have now.
That's a huge jump.
It is.
And it really puts this agreement into perspective.
Yeah.
It's not just about some theoretical future where AI goes crazy.
Right.
It's about a very real and immediate concern about how nuclear power is shifting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And while this agreement is a step forward, we have to remember it's not a legally binding treaty.
Oh, okay.
It's more like a statement of intent,
I see.
a sign that both the U.S. and China understand how serious this is.
So even if it's not a done deal, it's still intriguing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why now? What are their real reasons for this?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
One possibility is they're both feeling pressure from the international community
Okay.
to, address these growing concerns about AI and nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
There's been more and more pressure from groups like the United Nations
Right.
and various non-proliferation groups
Yeah.
to establish some international rules or regulations for AI in warfare.
So maybe this is a way for the U.S. and China to get ahead of the curve
Possibly.
and show they're taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, but if this isn't part of any formal nuclear arms control talks, what does that tell us about those negotiations?
Well, it's no secret, U.S.-China relations have been strained lately.
Yeah.
And nuclear arms control has been a really tough issue.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. has been pushing China to engage in more formal talks.
Yeah.
But so far, China has been hesitant.
So maybe this agreement is a way to break the ice,
Could be.
create some good vibes,
Yeah.
and lay the groundwork for more serious discussions later.
It's possible.
Okay.
But it's important to remember that the existing nuclear talks haven't dealt with AI at all.
Right.
And there's no sign they'll expand anytime soon.
So this agreement is kind of on its own for now?
Yeah, for
But hey, at least it's something. It shows both countries are at least thinking about these issues and acknowledging how dangerous AI could be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's them admitting we're entering uncharted territory here.
Right.
And the old ways of thinking about nuclear deterrence might not work anymore.
Okay, so we know AI isn't supposed to be deciding to launch nukes,
Right.
but then who is? How do those decisions get made in the real world?
Well, both the U.S. and China have a traditional human chain of command for those decisions.
Okay, so walk us through that.
Okay, so in both countries, the ultimate power to launch nuclear weapons belongs to the top levels of government,
Okay.
the President of the United States and the President of the People's Republic of China.
So it's not like some general can just decide to launch a nuke on their own.
No.
There's got to be more to it than that.
You're absolutely right.
Right,
There are multiple layers of human oversight and safeguards to
Okay.
prevent any accidental or unauthorized launches. It's not a decision anyone takes lightly, and there are very strict protocols to make sure any launch order is real and verified.
Okay, that's somewhat reassuring.
Yeah.
But it still feels a little unsettling,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, what if there's a miscommunication or a glitch?
Right.
Or what if someone just makes a bad call?
Those are valid concerns.
Yeah.
And it shows the huge responsibility that comes with having control over weapons this powerful.
Right.
That's why there's so much focus on clear communication,
Yeah.
redundancy, and fail-safe mechanisms.
So it's not just about having the right people in charge.
Right.
It's about having the right systems in place, too,
Exactly.
to support them and prevent any huge mistakes.
It's a complex system
Yeah.
with many layers of checks and balances
Yeah.
designed to minimize the risk of human error or bad judgment.
It makes you wonder, though, with all this AI talk, are those traditional systems enough?
Yeah.
I mean, as AI gets more and more sophisticated, won't it become harder to keep that clear separation between human and machine decision-making?
That's a question being debated right now by top government and military officials.
Wow.
There's a growing worry that as AI systems become more integrated into command and control,
Right.
the lines between human oversight and automated decision-making could blur.
So even with all those safeguards, the increasing complexity of AI could create new vulnerabilities
Exactly.
and points of failure.
It's a whole new challenge,
Yeah.
one that makes us rethink how we approach nuclear deterrence in the age of intelligent machines.
It's almost like we need a whole new set of rules for this new era of warfare.
Yeah.
But that's easier said than done, right?
Oh, it's a huge task,
Yeah.
but one we absolutely can't ignore.
Right.
The stakes are too high.
It's a lot to wrap your head around, honestly.
It is.
We've gone from talking about Biden and Xi agreeing to keep humans in control
Yeah.
to now questioning if that control is even possible long term.
Yeah.
It's a pretty mind-bending deep dive, wouldn't you say?
It definitely is.
Yeah.
But these are the kind of questions we need to be asking.
If we want to navigate this new tech landscape responsibly.
Okay, so let's change gears a bit and talk about the specifics of this agreement.
Okay.
It's been called a symbolic gesture.
Right.
But what does that really mean?
Yeah.
What are the actual implications of this agreement, if any?
Well, like we said earlier, the agreement itself isn't legally binding.
Right.
It's more a statement of shared principles,
Okay.
acknowledging that both the U.S. and China recognize how important it is for humans to control nuclear weapons.
So it's like a diplomatic handshake,
Yeah.
showing good intentions.
Right?
But how do we turn that into action?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
The agreement doesn't give any specific steps or ways to achieve human control. It's more like a starting point for future talks.
So it's like a roadmap without any directions.
Uh-huh. Yeah, good analogy.
We know where we want to go, but we're not sure how to get there.
And the path forward is probably going to be complicated and full of challenges.
There are a lot of technical, political, even philosophical questions we need to answer.
Like, how do you even define human control when you're talking about AI?
Right.
Where's the line between humans overseeing things and machines making decisions?
Those are exactly the questions policymakers and experts are struggling with right now.
Yeah.
There's no easy answer.
So it's a work in progress,
Definitely.
but even a baby step is a step in the right direction.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a sign that the world is realizing the potential risks of AI and nuclear weapons.
Right.
And that's good.
It feels like we're at a crossroads.
Mm.
We have this amazing technology that could revolutionize warfare,
It could.
but it could also make it even more dangerous and unpredictable.
That's a really powerful observation.
Yeah.
The choices we make today will have huge consequences for generations to come.
No pressure then.
Uh-huh.
But seriously.
Yeah.
What are some of the options?
Wow.
Are there concrete steps countries can take to reduce the risks of AI and nuclear weapons?
There are a few proposals being discussed.
Okay.
One is to make international treaties or agreements that specifically ban developing and using autonomous weapons systems.
So basically a global ban on killer robots.
Basically, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But of course, the details are a lot more complicated.
Right.
Figuring out what exactly counts as an autonomous weapon and how to enforce a ban is really difficult.
But at least it's a start, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It shows we need to set some ground rules before this technology gets out of control.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But Treaties and bans are only part of the solution.
Right.
What about the technical side?
Yeah.
Are there any safeguards we can build into the AI systems themselves
Okay.
to keep them from making catastrophic mistakes?
That's another area where a lot of research is happening.
Okay.
One approach is to build AI that's transparent and explainable,
Good.
meaning we can understand how it makes decisions and spot any biases or errors in its logic.
So it's not just about making AI smarter.
Right.
It's about making it more accountable.
Exactly.
Okay.
We have to be able to trust these systems,
Right.
and that requires a level of transparency that's just not there in a lot of AI applications today.
It sounds like a whole new field of AI ethics.
It is.
And it makes you wonder, even if we can solve all the technical and political challenges,
Yeah,
are we ready for the psychological impact of all this?
that's a crucial point.
Yeah.
We can't forget the human element.
Right.
We need to think about how people will react to more AI in warfare.
Mm-hmm.
How will soldiers, commanders, even civilians deal with the idea of machines making life or death decisions?
That's a lot to process.
It is.
And it brings up more questions than it answers.
It does.
But that's what a deep dive is all about, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The more we learn, the more we realize how much we still don't know.
Well, we've covered a lot today, from AI maybe starting nuclear war to the ethical issues it raises.
Yeah.
But before we go deeper into the psychology and strategy of all this,
Yeah.
let's take a minute to think about what we've learned so far. All right, so we've established AI isn't supposed to be making decisions about launching nukes. But that begs the question, if it's not AI calling the shots, who is? How do those decisions actually get made in the real world?
Well, both the US and China have a traditional human chain of command when it comes to nuclear launch decisions.
Okay, so walk us through that.
In both countries, the ultimate authority to launch nuclear weapons rests with the highest levels of government, the President of the United States and the President of the People's Republic of China.
So it's not like some general can just decide to launch a nuke on their own right. There's got to be more to it than that.
You're absolutely right. There are multiple layers of human oversight and safeguards built into the system to prevent accidental or unauthorized launches. It's not a decision that's taken lightly, and there are rigorous protocols in place to ensure that any launch order is legitimate and verified.
Okay, that's somewhat reassuring, but it still feels a little unsettling, you know? Like, what if there's a miscommunication or a technical glitch? Or what if someone just makes a bad call?
Those are valid concerns, and they highlight the immense responsibility that comes with having control over such powerful weapons. That's why there's so much emphasis on clear communication redundancy and fail-safe mechanisms.
So it's not just about having the right people in charge. It's also about having the right systems in place to support them and prevent any catastrophic mistakes.
Precisely. It's a complex system with multiple layers of checks and balances designed to minimize the risk of human error or misjudgment.
It makes you wonder, though, with all this talk about AI, are these traditional systems enough? I mean, as AI gets more sophisticated, won't it become harder to maintain that clear separation between human and machine decision-making?
That's a question that's being debated at the highest levels of government and military planning. There's a growing concern that as AI systems become more integrated into command and control structures, the lines between human oversight and automated decision-making could become blurred.
So even if we have all these safeguards in place, the increasing complexity of AI could create new vulnerabilities and potential points of failure.
Exactly. It's a new kind of challenge, one that requires a fundamental rethinking of how we approach nuclear deterrence in the age of intelligent machines.
It's almost like we need a whole new set of rules for this new era of warfare, but that's probably easier said than done, right?
It's a monumental task, but one that we can't afford to ignore. The stakes are simply too high.
It's been a pretty intense conversation so far.
It really has. We've talked about a lot, starting with how AI could totally change warfare,
Right.
to the ethical questions of letting machines make life or death decisions.
Yeah, we started with that agreement between Biden and Xi Jinping,
Right.
where they both said it's important to keep humans in control when it comes to nuclear weapons.
That was a big moment.
Yeah,
It showed that even the top levels of government realize we're in uncharted territory with AI,
right.
and the old ways of thinking about nuclear deterrence might not be enough anymore.
Then we went deep into what human control actually means in practice.
Right.
And it turns out it's way more complicated than you'd think.
It is.
There are all these safeguards and checks and balances, and so much depends on human judgment.
But even with all that, AI is advancing so fast.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if those systems will be enough to prevent accidents or things escalating in the future.
Exactly. And then there's the whole ethical side of things.
Right.
Are we okay with machines making decisions that could kill a lot of people?
Yeah.
Is that a line we're willing to cross?
Those are tough questions.
They are.
And there aren't easy answers.
Right.
We need to keep talking about these things as AI keeps developing.
It feels like a turning point in history.
It does.
AI has the potential to do so much good,
It does.
but it could also be incredibly dangerous if we don't handle it responsibly.
I agree, and that's why these conversations are so important right now.
Yeah.
We need to bring these issues out in the open and start really thinking about what AI means for our future.
So what are some key things you think our listeners should remember as they try to understand all this?
The most important thing is to stay informed.
Okay.
AI is changing so quickly. You need to understand the potential risks and benefits.
So don't just accept everything you hear.
Exactly.
Dig a little deeper, ask questions, and challenge the assumptions people are making.
Exactly. The second thing is to be part of the conversation.
Right.
Talk to your friends, family, and colleagues about these issues.
Right.
Write to your elected officials and tell them what you think.
Yeah.
The more we talk about these challenges, the better chance we have of finding solutions.
And lastly, I think it's important to remember that AI is just a tool.
Right.
It's not good or evil on its own.
Mm-hmm.
It's how we choose to use it that will determine its impact on the world.
I completely agree. It's up to us as a society to shape the future of AI in a way that benefits humanity.
Well said. So to our listeners out there, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of AI and nuclear weapons, I hope you're leaving with a better understanding of the challenges and opportunities ahead. It's complicated and changing fast, but it's something we need to engage with thoughtfully and critically. Thanks for joining us on this journey, and keep exploring a